Would you like to see fixed or improved in our state? Maybe it's the state's budget hole or teacher pay or access to health care. Well, next year we will be electing a new governor in Oklahoma. One of those candidates, Libertarian Chris Powell, joins us now to talk about the issues facing Oklahomans and why he believes he is the best person to lead our state. Chris, let's start out by talking about Libertarian. Describe what that means. What does it mean to you, and what does it mean for voters when they're trying to understand the candidates?
Libertarian comes from the root word liberty, and that's what we're about. We're the individual liberty people. We're for all of your rights all of the time.
Right. And what do you think that means for Oklahomans? What do you see going on in our state now that you believe you as a candidate could help change or turn around?
Well, it's about personal freedom, expanding that, and expanding economic freedom at the same time. Some of the things that we're interested in is, or I'm interested in, is criminal justice reform, doing it right so that we're not incarcerating people who don't need to be in the prison system, and keeping people there who are a harm to others. Education, preserving education for all of our state, and looking at the funding issues and things of that nature, and looking at our state budget, ironing out some of the things that the two establishment parties have been frankly screwing up with what they've done with the state budget, and really prioritizing our state spending in a way that makes sense.
And is it true, I had read that this will be the first time in 80 years there's a third party in the gubernatorial primary? Is that right?
This is the first gubernatorial primary for an alternative party since, I believe it's 1938, yes.
And why do you think that is? Because people are fed up with their other choices? Why is that?
Well, part of it is because of a change in the state law. We had what was widely considered the worst ballot access law in the country from 1974 until 2015 and 2016. Because of a change in the state legislature, one of the few things they did good, we were able to stay on the ballot after Gary Johnson's showing last year, and so now we're going to be on for a midterm election for the first time in our history, and as you said, it's the first primary for an alternative party in a long time.
Yeah, so this is this is a big deal, right? And big shoes to fill, right? I mean, you've been a very successful third-party candidate. You had a run before for a different office, Oklahoma County Clerk. What did that, being a part of that election, did you gain some knowledge for that will help you as you try to ascend to the office of governor? What did you learn from that election?
Oh, there was a lot to be learned. Every time you're involved in politics, and this is across the board for anybody, and I encourage anybody, regardless of what party they're in or whether they're an independent, to get involved in the process. Everything that you do, you learn more about not only how to do it and how it works, but how to talk to people and how to listen to people.
Right, right. One of the things you mentioned was teacher pay. Or just reforming education in general. One thing that we've talked a lot about on this show is teacher pay and how to better take care of our teachers so they're not leaving for other states. How do you change that? Because, where do you get the money from? Is it increased taxes? What do you see as a way to help reform our education system here in Oklahoma?
Well, in my view, one of the things about education is that teachers are talking a lot about pay. And I am certainly not one who thinks that they shouldn't have a raise. I'm all for teachers having a raise. I know an awful lot of teachers who I'd like to see make a little bit more money for what they do. But when you're unhappy in your job, one of the easiest things to say is, pay me more money. But it doesn't necessarily address some of the issues. We have a state legislature that thinks it can micromanage the classroom, that thinks they can say what testing has to be done, how the curriculum should be designed, what teachers should be doing, micromanaging their job. That's not a fun work environment. That's not a work environment that allows our teachers to really utilize their skills and abilities. So again, what do? You complain about pay me more money, but I think if we let schools, the professionals in schools, run those schools. We have elected school boards. Those are elected officials, just like the people in the state legislature. If we let schools run themselves and let these professionals do their jobs, they're going to be happier in their work. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't have more money, but it is going to make for a better workplace, and it's going to make for better outcomes for students.
Right, so happier workplace, but then what is that piece? How do you fill it? So they're happier there and they want to stay here, but then how do you make up that difference if we can't pay teachers more? How do you, we just had a gentleman on that was talking about how he knew 2 teachers that had left and they were as a family going to make, $50,000 more and they just couldn't